setup too. What up? What up? What up?
What up? What up? What
Wednesday.
up?
You
What
know
up
what that
Wednesday?
means.
What? What does it mean?
It's What If Wednesday.
Oh shit! That's awesome. Another one. It's like
Another
they
one.
just keep coming.
Until
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 they
after
until
next
they
week.
don't.
Mhm.
Right. So yeah, we got the second to last episode. I guess same shit as usual. Anything else? I don't think I have watched anything this week other than Desus and Mero. Like I always turn on Desus and Mero just to like watch in the background. I guess like
I've
when I do
watched
stuff.
stuff. I've watched things, but like I watched
Nothing of note.
with the lady. I watched Classic Horror Story.
Right? You weren't a fan.
Yeah,
You weren't a fan.
wasn't that?
Yeah.
I wasn't a fan. And
You weren't a
then
fan. I was a fan. This is one we haven't talked about before, but
no, I wasn't. I wasn't. It just didn't strike with me.
yeah,
And
I
I think,
I
like I
totally
said, I
feel
think
that.
it was because, like, I mean, it played into me how it was supposed to,
Hmm.
like how they intended for it to play into me. But um, shaking my head, he's mad, he's salty. Let him be salty. What's up, Pudgy? Uh, but it definitely like when we was like confused and I looked it up, I was like, let me Google this, and I looked it up, and like it was like, yeah, it's supposed to make you mad and this and that, and it's like,
Hmm.
yeah, fuck that. Like
Yeah.
at least make it entertaining.
Yeah, I know something else we talked about. I just brought it up again, like just a little bit ago, about how we both didn't really dig the English dub. It was like
Yeah.
it was just weird. Yeah, but
I
like I
think
don't
that
know.
that really took it out of it because the voice actors did not line up with the people.
Yeah, that was weird, especially for the like lead villain dude. Like that really took like me out of it. But no, because Priyanka hit me up, and I'd like seen it on Netflix, and she hit me up. She's like, "You need to watch this movie. This was actually really good." And then like I saw all these people like they kept comparing it to Cabin in the Woods. And like as soon as I heard that, like then I'm like expecting something, you know what I mean? Like Cabin in the Woods is one of my all-time favorites. Like, I know that movie front to back.
Right.
Like so I'm just
Yeah.
like, okay, so it's probably gonna be this, or this. So when it all went down the way it did, it's like I didn't call it completely, but it's like obviously I knew it was going somewhere like that. I dug it. I definitely see where it's not for everybody. I'd probably give it. I don't know. I'd give it like a 7 out of 10. I enjoyed it, but
And I can't watch.
uh,
I can't remember this movie I watched. I'd give it. I mean, I'd give it a five. It had 5.5. It had potential.
there you go.
Uh, I watched this other movie the other night. I can't think of what it was called. 16 level 16.
I don't know.
It, it was again. It was weird. It was like a group of girls being raised in like a facility, and it's like, well, why the hell are they getting raised in this facility? And it ended up being really just kind of odd, more of a thriller, I guess, than a
Yeah,
horror. But it was a movie.
yeah.
Again, probably about 5.5. And then I watched that what's it called? I guess I've been watching.
Spontaneous.
Yeah, I guess I've been watching a lot of movies this past week.
Yeah, you
Yeah, and then
watched a lot more shit than I
I
watched
guess
this
so.
weekend.
Spontaneous. I spontaneously watched Spontaneous last night.
Spontaneous, man.
Yeah, that one I had seen on TikTok.
Mhm.
And that was wild. I mean, that one I'd say out of all of these things I've watched, that was probably my favorite.
Yeah.
I'd give
What would
that
you
one a
give it?
6.5.
Okay. Okay.
It's got potential. It had a
It it
potential to be
it
a really
it
good
looks
movie.
it like it looked like it was like a 6.57 with the
Yeah,
potential to
I,
be like
I,
a
I I feel
surprise
like
hit.
it could have been a lot more wild than they had it. And I feel like
Yeah.
when it comes to the question of why these people are popping, uh, they kind of was like, I can't think of anything cool. I
Yeah.
feel like that's the writers are like, I can't really think of anything cool. Uh, so it's like, all right then. And I,
Yeah.
I, I watched one episode out of a show called the Squid Game
I
on
was just
Netflix.
getting ready to ask you, have you heard about the Squid Game? Because I'm
Yes,
thinking about watching it myself. It looks kind of wild. I don't.
it's like
And I'm gonna tell you this. I literally just saw the trailer for it like this morning, and other than that, I know nothing about this show.
so I've seen people sharing it over like TikTok and
Hmm.
shit like that. And it's one of those things that's like they just share the lit moments. So like when you're watching it, it's like the rest of it's very slow, and it's like I got this
Hmm.
build up to know where it should go.
Yeah.
But it's one of those like if you're wanting a horror movie, it's not like paced like that. It's paced like a season of a TV show. So you
Right.
got to wait for it and more story driven. So like when I
Mm.
was watching it, that's not just that just wasn't what I was looking for at the moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I feel that. Yeah.
So it's
I
all right.
figured it'd be something like that. I figured there would definitely be like more like heft to it and stuff.
But
Uh,
I'm like interested, a Hunger Games esque.
I kind of
But
got that
like
vibe. Uh,
yeah,
I really fuck with the movie Battle Royale that like the Hunger Games was inspired by and shit, and that's the vibes I got from the trailer. Yeah, it looks fucking weird, man.
it is
I
weird.
always love
It is
something.
weird.
I always love something weird, man.
Yeah, you might
I'm
dig
a
that
fan.
one, man. You should probably check
I'm a,
into it because it's different.
it looked like something I would enjoy. Like honestly, like I expect to enjoy it. So I'll
I'll
have to
watch
keep
it at
everybody
some
updated.
point. I'll come back to it and watch it at some point, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that,
Um.
like my regular broadcasting television wasn't on. Like Heels didn't have a new episode this week. Titans was just Titans again. Same old, same old, same old.
I just haven't watched anything, man. I just haven't caught up on my stuff. I have a new episode of Only Murders in the Building to watch. Still, Wu Tang started like a few weeks ago, and I still haven't watched that. That's one I feel like I'm waiting to like end so I can just binge it. You know, uh,
Yeah, I
and
feel that.
then uh, what's the other thing I watch? Reservation Dogs. I got like 2 episodes left of that, and I just haven't gotten around to finishing it. So like, yeah, I got nothing. I didn't see any new movies this weekend. Nothing like that. I know a couple come out this following weekend. We get Venom 2, which I've been hearing is pretty lit. Uh, Critics seem to be digging it. Uh, People say there's still some surprises in store. I'm like, okay, I like to hear that.
I've heard some of the surprises. So
I figured you did. I was about to say some people probably already know what those surprises are, but I myself have stayed away from it because I'd like to know what those surprises are. I'd like to be surprised. There's I had to back up from like watching people like talk about this shit like because I was getting a little too like much info, and I'm like, nah. Like I like to experience it. Like I like to be at the theater and like and watch the shit on Disney Plus, uh, and experience it in the moment. So like that's why here soon I'm gonna have to shut off the Spider-Man faucet and quit quit looking into all that shit so that I can just like maintain some surprise, which I'm sure there will be regardless. But like same with next week's episode of What If. I feel like there's surprises in store. Marvel's usually pretty good at it. Uh, but at the same time, the Disney Plus shows I've kind of had that like feeling before, and they didn't. Wasn't very surprising.
true, true.
So with that being said, having not
Well,
seen anything else, you want to get
and
into
Adam, you're getting into what else? Adam's Family 2 comes out this Friday.
yeah, Adam's Family too. And then I never watched The Sopranos, but like The Sopranos like prequel movies coming out, and I like gangster movies. Like I'm sure I would like The Sopranos if I watched it. But for you Sopranos fans, HBO Max, baby, that's where I'm gonna be catching that one because I never watched The Sopranos, so I ain't gonna be going to the theater. Maybe I don't know. But fuck, I
But
might. I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah. Segue into where we're going. What if
What if?
second to last episode? What
What
if
if
Ultron
Ultron won?
won?
And
I
man, I don't know.
I think
Speaking
we're
of not
torn
being
on this
surprised
one.
by anything, between like the two of us, like our opinions on it, because I actually think we feel the same way. I feel like we feel pretty similar in like some aspect about this episode, not like where things are going. I feel like
Oh,
we're a little
okay.
more torn on where things are going. I feel like we have similar feelings on this episode because like there were some cool things in there. There were definitely like maybe like a very few moments that I was like, oh, that was cool. Like I dug that. Um, but it was very predictable. Like I don't know, there was nothing here that surprised me because in my opinion, Ultron was always a dope villain. And like, what if Ultron won? He'd probably fuck shit up. Like as
Yeah,
soon
but
as
it's
I
like
saw Ultron had the Infinity Stones, I'm like,
that was
bro,
such
it's
a
like,
dull moment for me, though.
And that's what I'm saying. Like it was all done so like blah. It was all done so like, yeah, of course this would happen. You know what I mean? There was no like zest to it. There's no like, damn, like there was no like it wasn't cool to watch, like to behold, like as it should
Well,
have
it's
been. Like
like
it was just so like,
why
who
did the
cares, man?
Avengers fail to stop him from getting Vision's body? You
Exactly.
know,
Like
they like
even
didn't
that
even
I
show
feel like
that.
would have been like more interesting. Like I had no end to this, I feel like. I was just like, I don't know, man. I was like, of course, like if they breezed over that part, and I feel like that part would have made it better, honestly, because
Yeah.
I'm just like, what if Ultron won and they just jump right into him like
Well, to
having
me, it would have
won, and
been
I'm like,
like
yeah,
sprinkle this at somewhere else in a different episode. You know what I'm saying? Like,
even
flesh
even
this.
him getting the Infinity Stones was very lame. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's why I
Yeah,
say
it's
like
like
show this over the course of the whole season to
those
the
dudes that fucking left Shang Chi. It's like those rings are so OP, dude. Like that's how I felt about Ultron in
yeah.
this episode.
Well,
Ultron's
and
so
it's just
OP, dude.
like it's I don't know, man. Like to me, it was just dumb. Like the one part that I really didn't get was uh when Black Widow and Hawkeye and
Mhm.
Zemo, or not Zemo, but what's his name?
Uh,
Think
Zola, Arnim
like
Zola.
Zola, yeah. Um, when they're trying to shut down all the Ultron drones, you know, he can't upload because he's like the hive mind's not on, like he's left the observable universe. Well, then why the fuck
Hmm.
are all those drones still, working and following his orders and shit? Don't you think the second he
Right,
left, they would have been like, because
right,
he's not,
yeah.
so it's like obviously like he would have to left a link to one of them, which is the link that guy would have got to be able to take control of all of them.
Hmm.
So like to me that was a misbeat there.
Hmm.
I did like the animation though. I love the
Yeah.
animation when Hawkeye was jumping back in at all of them.
I was gonna
That was
say I really
a
like
really
that. That
dope
was
looking
definitely like a
shot.
nice frame.
Yeah,
But I was just getting ready to say my complaint about that is that scene in particular. Like
yeah,
I
just
feel like it.
opposite
I
of
feel like that
Infinity
scene is
War.
only done literally just to be like, oh, I see what you did there. It's the flip, and now she's letting go of him, and then you get this awesome frame. Like I get it, but at the same time, I'm like, you could have pulled his ass up.
Yeah,
You know what I mean. I just watch you do all this shit. You're telling me that this situation, like you seem to have a firm grip. Like none of this seems precarious. This just seems like, and I mean, I guess that is what happened. Like he did say, like I'm done fighting, but even that was like, I don't know. I didn't feel it. Like I'm like, why though? Like
I'm
you
pretty
guys
sure that's
skipped so
exactly what
much
she
shit.
says in Infinity War, ain't it? Or Endgame. She's like,
Yeah, it is. She's like, I'm
I'm
done.
done fighting or done running
Yeah,
or some
something
shit
like
like
that.
that. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
but
Fighting
then
wars or
like,
some shit like that.
yeah, it's
So
just
I
like,
get it, but it's like I feel like of all of the what if episodes, this is the one that I'm like, this should have been a movie. This should have been a movie. This should have been fucking longer. Like this should have been like a fleshed out thing, and then like all of these cool things you're showing us in this episode would have been like impactful. Then it would have been like, oh shit, that hits. Like, but this just felt like that rushed thing again. That what if does sometimes, where I'm just like, okay, for something that's supposed to be so like, and I don't know, maybe it is. Maybe they're just like rushing to get to the end so they can be like, boom, here's the big thing at the end. Like, here's how it's all gonna fucking
and
go
then
from here.
like I like the Watcher as the character, but like the way that Ultron discovers him, it's just like,
It was a little lame again. Like everything's too convenient. You know what I mean? Like if it was more fleshed out, if this was like if we got to see Ultron do like Thanos's quest, like it'd be fucking crazy, dude. Like, but like I didn't like that either. I didn't like that. It was played for laughs, and I get that. Like Thanos walks out and he goes, "Vroom," just fucking cuts that motherfucker in half with a laser, and it's just like I'm like, come the fuck on. Like, you
then
know
why
what I mean? There
couldn't
could have
Vision
been
have
like
done
at
that?
least a little bit of a struggle. Exactly. Like it's just shit like that that I'm just like, come the fuck on. And I don't know. I'm just like it's all too convenient. And then like you said, now again, that was one of the situations where like the Watcher as a character, like I'm like I really fuck with the Watcher. Like I really like that the Watcher has like become a part of the fold in the MCU, and I liked that he got to fight and shit in this one. Like that was one of those moments where I was like, okay, this is dope. Like I liked the Watcher's fight, but I didn't like how he was discovered. I'm like, this seems so fucking stupid to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, same. I liked his fight, but like that was very good animation too. But it was still kind of
Hmm.
like confusing because it's like, well, how the fuck
I
are you
wa-
just punching each other
I got a
through
little lost too. I was like, I don't really understand
all these
the rules of
multiverses?
this.
Yeah,
Yeah, Yeah, I
But
don't
it's
understand
like,
how they're like going through. Like that was super confusing, man.
but like
Yeah.
that was the part where I was just like, I was thinking like, I don't think they're gonna branch this off into the MCU as far as like, oh, this is gonna impact the MCU as we know it or something. You know what I'm saying? I was like, nah, they're showing all these different worlds where they could obviously show a world that everybody was like, oh, show wanted Spider-Man posters on a billboard or some shit. You know what
Uh,
I'm saying?
no,
Something
I see what you're
easy.
saying. I see what you're
And
saying.
it's
I see
like,
what you're saying.
I
I
think,
don't know.
like I said,
Maybe it was there and we missed it. You know how the internet is. They'll find it. If there is
nah,
something, they'll
like
find it.
I haven't seen anybody really talking anything like that. They were talking like, oh, there's Captain America as president and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But like, like I said, I just feel like it's like, oh, we like some of these characters from this, so like, in Doctor Strange when they're traveling the multiverse, oh, we
Mhm.
can throw these characters over, but
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and they're established and they've done all this stuff, but I don't see this being like it as like, oh, this is the
For a
reason.
brief fleeting moment during this episode, I thought to myself, and the more I think about it, the more I just go back to if they were going to do this, they would have done it different. I'm like, dude, what if Ultron was the fucking villain in Multiverse of Madness? Like that would be the craziest shit in the world. Like if this Ultron was the villain in that movie, I would honestly be blown the fuck away. Like that would be super dope to see. But at the same time, it's just the way it's set up. I'm like, I'd have to see what this finale does. Like if that's what
See,
ends up happening, I would have to see what this
in
finale
my
does.
opinion, had they have James Spader voicing him in this, I could believe that. But the fact that
Yep,
it's
yep.
not James Spader voicing him,
Which was very
hmm,
upsetting.
it was, and
Very upsetting.
that was very
That was another
off-putting
thing.
to
I'm
me.
like, you know what? I feel like if James Spader was voicing Ultron, again, it would have been one of those things that I could have gotten more into this. Like that
Oh
was
yeah,
actually the opening credits for this episode was like the one episode that immediately I was just like, "Ugh, I don't know about this." Like I'm pretty sure Jeremy Renner's the only person in that whole voice cast that is like the original person. Because other than that, every name coming up in the credits were the people that we'd seen come up before that weren't the actual actor. It was only like Jeremy Renner and Toby Jones that plays Zola. Like they were like the only two that came back. I'm like, what? Like you got all these other characters, and I don't know. It just like it took me out. And then,
yeah.
well, and Benedict Cumberbatch there at the end, little asterisk, But that's what
That was
got
a
me
little.
thinking about it. I'm like,
I
well,
like that though. I did like that aspect of it is when the Watcher realized he's fucked, and it's like, oh, here's the one universe
I
Ultron
did
ain't gonna
enjoy
bother
that.
with.
I've
Yeah,
seen everything in the universe, but what the hell was that?
Ultron
Oh,
ain't gonna bother going there because it's like there ain't nothing there.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. I see. I told you we felt the same about this episode.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like, like hopefully it has a redemption within next week, but
Yeah.
I just
Otherwise, definitely I'd
like I
rank
said,
it
I
pretty
feel
low.
like these like I feel about the comics. They're fun to like fuck with
Mhm.
every now and then, but like as an overall, like I just never take it serious or really care too much.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah.
Well, next week is like the linchpin. I feel like we'll see what next week does with the overall show, like how it ties together. If it's gonna have bigger like ramifications for stuff, like we'll find all that out next week, or we'll find out if this is just one of those things. It's like, hey, here's a bunch of fun stories, you know. And that's where I feel like the biggest surprises are going to come into play. So it's like one of those things that if nothing happens, it's like, okay, this we kind of expected this, or maybe it does. I don't know.
Well, I seen them talking about the episode they took out of here, like out of the
Well,
season,
what was it?
like Tony being on Sakaar or something like that.
Oh, you know what? I've been wondering about that because I
Yeah,
was like, there, yeah,
they took that out because they said they felt like Tony Stark was becoming a Kinney of this series to where he just dies every episode he's
dies
in.
everything. Maybe it's an absolute point. Maybe Tony Stark always dies.
I don't know. Like I said, we'll see. Like I don't know. I don't know. I was very hyped and very optimistic, and by the end of it, it's like, eh.
Yeah.
I
I
just
was
feel
the
like it
opposite.
could have been a little bit better.
Yeah. Or you mean about the series or about this episode?
The series
Okay. That
so
okay.
far,
Well, then I stand
it,
by what I said. Then I'm the opposite because I started out like, and then but honestly, I don't know. This episode, I don't know, man. Like the more I think on this particular episode, I'm gonna have to watch it again. But like, I don't know. It really depends on how part two really like brings it together because in a sense that like this final episode is part two of like literally all the other episodes we've seen already. So we'll just see. We will see. I really think this final episode is really going to depend on how I feel about What If as a whole, just because it really has had its ups and downs, and I personally feel like it's had more downs than ups. But we'll see how many more times could I say that? You know.
we'll see if we get to see King Killmonger and the T'Challa Star Lord and our
Mhm.
Captain Britain make their triumphant returns. Maybe Party
Yeah.
Thor, but it kind of
Somebody
looked
we
like
still haven't
kind of
seen is
kind of looked like Ultron was about to get Party Thor though. So
true.
not a good look.
I could see that
Same.
being like one of those things where like it opens up and he's just like, wow, like Party Thor's gone. But we still haven't seen Gamora yet, like that we've been seeing in the trailers, like with the fucking Thanos weapon and shit.
I think that was the one that got cut. That was part of that one too.
Oh, I don't know. Because she's
So
still in
yeah.
like the multiverse stuff and she's still in all the posters and shit. So I don't know.
Well, and that was the
We'll
biggest
fucking
thing
see.
that was a blooper somebody showed was when Thanos shows up and in this episode he's got the Soul Stone. He had them all. But when Ultron goes to whatever planet the Guardians of the Galaxy are on, Gamora's there with
Mhm.
him. So then who did Thanos sacrifice for the Soul Stone?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good
So
point. Well,
that was supposed to be the only
actually,
person he
actually,
ever loved.
I think those scenes were flipped though, weren't they? No, because he starts going out into the galaxy. That's right.
Yeah. So
Yep.
he had all the stones. He's already killed Thanos at that point. Gamora's still alive. So it's like, I don't know if you guys thought that one through.
Right. At the same time, though, that's that kind of shit that, like, if I was like a writer on What If, I'd be like, oh, it's another universe, and in this universe, he killed Nebula. Just pull some shit out. You know what I mean? Like, if I was on staff there and somebody pointed that shit out, I'd
Yeah,
be
but
like,
see, it's dumb because I would have rather
we meant
seen
to do
how
that.
how Ultron would have got a Soul Stone.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that would have been more interesting to see.
I know, man. There's just definitely a more interesting version of this.
What if
I just
Ultron
feel like they didn't.
had to get the Soul Stone on his own?
Yeah. What if Ultron got a better episode? You know.
And was
What?
voiced by James Spader.
Right. What if James Spader had come back? This I feel like this what if leaves me with the most what ifs, the most could have beens.
Yeah.
It happens. It
I
happens.
just think that's to me it would have been a more menacing episode had it been James Spader.
Yep. Yep. He brings that thunder, for sure. For sure.
But I guess we'll find out
Lackluster.
next week. We'll find out
What
next
if?
week.
But we've got the exciting conclusion next week. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. And then we'll probably be taking a time out on the Wednesdays, but October starts fucking Friday. And it's going to be lit wall to wall from the 1st to the 31st. It's going to be crazy. We got all sorts of shit coming your way. We got some of the best episodes of Summer Camp of Horrors heading your way. And going to be like this what if
All
shit.
the rest of them.
Yeah. All the way till Halloween weekend. So we're going to be lit like a pumpkin all Halloween long.
I can't wait.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see you guys Friday for episode 4 of Summer Camp of Horrors. You will get pregnant and you will die. Best one yet. You better be
Best
there.
one yet.